This is Savio. I've been seeking answers to some of life's most perplexing questions my entire life. In 2014, I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, and ever since, I realized my calling existed outside of what I knew to be familiar. This podcast is your home for survivors like myself and those who are searching to find meaning to their why. In Season 2, the show includes a mix of coaching sessions followed immediately by interviews with those from all walks of life who have been successful in the business, marketing, coaching, and financial worlds. The intent is to show the human experience in its rawest form so that others may glean insight. Nothing is rehearsed or has been edited. As a board-certified wellness coach, my job is to ask the deep questions of those trying to make sense of their place in this fractured world. I believe life speaks to us in different ways. Many of us listen but don't know how or where to begin. As someone who has crossed the bridge between life and death, I say simply, begin where you are now and get busy living. If you liked today's episode, I would appreciate it if you could share it and subscribe. Be sure to tag me at The Human Resolve so I can reciprocate in kind. So without further ado, welcome to the Human Resolve podcast. Functional genomic consultant and lymphoma survivor, Jaclyn Downs is brilliant at addressing the root causes of many infertility issues. In her personal life, however, the old tapes of the past often keeps her stuck. Attempting to redefine what abundance really means, she questions whether having just enough will serve her ultimate purpose. Hi, Jaclyn. Good to see you.
Hi, wonderful to see you.
So what would you like coaching on today?
I've been thinking about this, and I think that myself and a lot of other people also could use your wisdom on cultivating more of an abundance mindset. I know there's a lot of lack mindset, and that is often inborn in us or just ingrained in us as children, and that's something that a lot of us aren't conscious of until maybe we do some reading, some listening, some learning. And so that is something that I was never aware that I was brought into, just like ingrained in me, lack mindset. So I've put a lot of intention into recreating the abundance mindset in my mind, and I feel like I've accomplished a lot on that front, but we can always improve. Going from a lack mindset to an enough mindset to a growth and abundance mindset. So I think that would be something wonderful to discuss.
Okay, wonderful. So what I'm hearing is, do you want to sort of transition from sometimes feeling like there's a lack mindset into a growth mindset or an abundant mindset?
Yes. I feel like it's a muscle that we have to work. And I guess I'd like to get to the point where it's just second nature to me to just subconsciously know it and believe it. And a large percentage of the time it is because I have been doing a lot of work in that area. But I feel like that's can always get worked a little bit more.
So what would be a fantastic outcome?
Being able to visualize the abundance that is possible.
Visualize the abundance that is possible.
Because there's so much abundance in the universe. It is. And a lot of people forget to see that or aren't aware of seeing that. And so to just know that and hold it close to me would be great to just, that kind of be the compass for where I know that I am able to go.
I just saw you when you said hold it close to me. You sort of moved your hand to your heart. Tell me more about that.
Just to be able to fully embody knowing, like I said, and just embodying that feeling so that it's not something that I have to remind myself the growth mindset or do the meditations or the mantras or what have you, and it's just there as second nature.
So how has lack mindset played a role in your life?
I didn't even realize it until, I guess, in my early 20s when I went and attended IIN. That was sort of the first time that that was introduced to me. And they called it, they referred to it as these tapes that are just, played over and over again. And it's very true, because my parents, my mother's mom was a Baptist missionary and lived very frugally. And then also my mom just growing up in Japan. And then my parents split, and there was just always the discussion of, not enough for child support and not being successful, in my parents maybe not have been as successful as they had wanted to in the past. And I was just witnessing this and hearing the comments of, we don't have money for that, or people with money are certain types of people, or a-holes, or whatever. And I refuse to bring that into my subconscious now, because I know so many people that have an abundance of money, and still are doing what they love and helping people and creating that ripple effect, and are very kind, giving people, and have they're living their right livelihood. And so I choose to focus on that instead of, hearing the negative tapes in my mind. But it has held me back. So since working on that, I've definitely progressed and moved a lot of that behind me, to the point where I have clients and success in these areas. But now, especially since having cancer, the first thing I thought of when I got my cancer diagnosis was, I can't die. There's so many places that I wanted to see in the world, and I never was able to go because I never had the money. And so that was sort of a realization that, like, this my timeline is finite, and there's so many things I need to do, and I am ready to expand my business on the many levels that I'm able to, especially now that my girls are older and they're able to be more self-sufficient, especially when my husband is traveling. And so I'm ready to grow my business and see how much growth is possible with the business.
So when the tricklings of the sort of lack mindset comes in, what's it saying?
I'm going to close my eyes and think about that for a second.
Okay.
I think it's like almost subconscious, where it's more of like a procrastination or something subconsciously, where, I'll do that tomorrow, or, I need to do something else that's more important or more pertinent first. And so it's just like it never really moves to the top of the list, is sort of how I'm sensing that's how it shows itself.
And when it shows itself, does it want anything or need anything?
I don't know. I haven't thought about that before.
Would you like to explore?
Sure. Yes.
Yeah. So let's just do a quick body scan. I just want you to get comfortable in your seat. You can soften your gaze or close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths in and out. Just want you to breathe into the different body parts that I mentioned. The top of the head, the forehead, the eyes, the lips, the mouth, the ears, the throat, shoulders, upper body, the hands, the abdomen, the lower body, the legs, the feet. Take a couple more breaths in and out. So, Jaclyn, what's happening in your body right now?
relaxed, more centered.
When it comes to this idea of lack and what it needs and wants, is anything coming to the surface?
I think my brain just has been told so many, like I've learned so many times that it is just all in your head. And I'm trying to find where that feeling of lack resides in my body, but it just, because I know this is something that it's all in your mind. I'm not.
If you were to move that thought process to your heart somehow, is there anything else coming up for you? What about if you move that to your gut? Anything coming up there?
When I think of how I feel when I experience those twinges of feelings of lack, my gut is now kind of telling me, don't be silly.
Don't be silly.
More like, don't be silly to think about that. Because I have really been trying to change the ingrained beliefs. So now I think that shift is being made, but I'm right there on the cusp of easily bouncing back and forth between abundance and lack. I don't know if that makes any sense.
In a perfect world, where would you like to be? All in abundance?
Yes, but not complacent. Always striving for more, because I know that, especially with my occupation, the more abundance I have is a reflection of the amount of people that I've helped.
So how do you define abundance?
That's a great question. Abundance for me is being able to perform self-care. And as I say in my book, self-care isn't, pedicures and chocolates and wine. It's, putting in the work to be the best version of yourself, so you don't feel the need to escape with wine and shopping and that kind of stuff. So it's the maybe the massage therapy, the craniosacral therapy, the chiropractic therapy, buying good food, having the time to de-stress, and then having the financial wherewithal to be able to afford all of those modalities, and that spilling over into my friends and my family's wellness as well.
And do you feel that you are vibrating on that level right now?
Currently, yes. But I think with everybody that sort of comes and goes, and for some people it's easier for it to remain, and other people, especially at the beginning of their journey, it's something that they really have to consciously work at. And so it's a work in progress for sure, but I am feeling very blessed and on that wavelength right now.
If you were to maximize the power outage of that, what would life look like for you?
High vibrational energy all the time, where people with lower vibrational energies would raised because of mine, or they would be inspired because of mine. Where sometimes, especially with very empathetic people, it can really get affected. Other people's energy can really affect their energy. And so I do experience some of that as well. So just radiating that light so much that instead of it affecting my light affects theirs and raises theirs.
And would there be any pitfalls to living that life?
Well, there's always going to be haters, right? I can't think of any right now. If you're living your truth and shining your light and inspiring others, that's really the best that we can do, right?
Is this type of life like realistic?
It is, but maybe there's that lack mindset again in the background that it's very privileged and first world problems. So that kind of goes back and forth with how I was raised. I was very much there was assistance, that at certain times. And so I think that's where the lack kind of creeps in, because there's all of this stuff that I would want for the wellness of myself and my family and friends, but yet that's for privileged white people, right? I mean, I'm not 100% white, I'm half Japanese, but still, ideally, I am essentially a white person. I wouldn't, I guess I'll just leave it at that. I guess I would be considered more white than any other. So then, and so maybe that's something that we can discuss, because do you feel that stems from lack mindset?
My question to you would probably be, how do you express authenticity?
Speaking my truth, but in a way that is with grace and with kindness.
And do you feel that you do that on a day-to-day basis?
I try to. I know with my immediate family, it doesn't always come out with grace and kindness, but I am somebody that does speak my truth. Anybody that knows me will tell you I definitely do not hold in my feelings at all.
How do you feel, or what do you sense that friends and family, how do they view you?
Well, since having cancer, when people would come out of the woodwork and they definitely know I speak my mind, and I am determined, and I am somebody that works towards my goals, even if it is at a snail's pace. I'm still always working towards some goals.
If you were to live in that abundant mindset continuously, what do you think your family, your friends' view on you would be?
Even more support. Mm-hmm.
Any obstacles or any feelings or sensations that are not too positive there?
No, I don't think.
What do you think the lack of a growth mindset has done for you?
A lack of growth mindset has kept me having just enough for what I need. Just enough for maybe a chiropractic visit, or just enough for going on a small weekend getaway or something like that. But in more recent years, it's been more than just enough mindset. But throughout my 20s and early 30s, which I'm 43 now, it definitely just kind of kept me in the same place that I had always been. And that was, just making ends meet regardless of what job I had. So it was just what I was putting out to the universe is what I had always learned, that this is what it is. And so what I was putting out to the universe, it was providing. So I just kept being in the same situation.
And so what do you think you can do to change the script on that?
I have been, for sure. And so, like I said, I have a business that I love. I'm just looking to expand the growth potential and go beyond where I am currently.
Do you do anything in terms of reflection a day?
On a daily basis, consciously, no. But I do reflect on all of the things I am grateful for, which I wrote about that in my article that when you interviewed me. And so that gratefulness of just, my physical capabilities and my social capabilities and my mental capacities, I am grateful for. And then, the house that I have and the family that I have and all of that. But it's not something that I'm writing in a gratitude journal every day. I have done that in the past, and it has helped for sure.
Would you be open to a suggestion or a resource?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So a lot of people do these gratitude journals, but sometimes they don't ask why that happened. They only are grateful that it happened. Just thought maybe that there's something there for you.
I like that.
So if you ask yourself the question, you mentioned you're on this trajectory to having more of an abundant mindset. How could that resource or that sort of wisdom help you?
I think as the growth and abundance mindset grows, it will crowd out the ingrained lack that still creeps in from time to time. And so, like I said, I just want to make it more second nature to not have the lack mindset creep in. So just continuing on this trajectory, hopefully will put the lack mindset in the past completely.
Do you feel like you deserve to have abundance?
As a human and spiritual being in this universe, I believe that we all do. And so that's sort of been tying into my spiritual exploration of universal energy. And that it's all there. We just need to tap into it and believe it. So it's almost like in eating disorder clinics where they have the person stand in front of the mirror and tell them that they love themselves, like, I love you, I love you, I love you, until, it stops feeling really silly and they start changing the narrative within themselves. I feel like it's something similar with just trusting that there is so much abundance in the universe that we can tap into, and we are all deserving of it. But on an individual basis, the lack mindset from childhood, or maybe how other people would view you or judge you, and I've learned about that, so I'm aware of it, so it's easier for me to keep moving forward. Does that make sense?
It makes complete sense. My sort of curiosity is piqued, though, in the sense of when you sort of try to imagine this abundant mindset and, You said to some degree you are moving towards that. What's like keeping you tethered?
Now there's probably a lot more to unpack in this, but I would say it's just when that lack mindset creeps in. But that is not a complete answer, because what would cause that lack mindset to creep in is probably going to be your next question. I think also having to divide my time between, making dinner and packing lunches and bedtime and the household things for my family. So it's the work-life balance, I guess.
If you were to personify the lack mindset, how would you describe it?
A very insecure person that may be a people pleaser and just kind of say what they think people want to hear, even if that's not what they truly think themselves.
And have you ever embodied some of those qualities?
I definitely have had my insecurities, and we all do, and still do. But regarding speaking what I think, I don't. I usually, if I really don't agree with something and I know that it's not really the right place for me to voice my opinion, or it's not worth it, I will just keep my mouth shut. Otherwise, it's hard for me to keep my thoughts and feelings inside.
So if you were to remove yourself from this, what would you say to yourself regarding where you want to go and where you are at the moment? If you can speak your mind freely.
Can you rephrase that question?
Yeah. So if you were to take yourself out of the situation and view Jaclyn as someone else regarding this situation, what would you say to that Jaclyn?
Regarding growth mindset versus lack mindset?
Yeah, where they are at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Just keep going and keep trying things, even if they don't work. Just keep moving forward. You're doing it. Just keep following your heart and your passion.
And so how would you keep yourself accountable to that advice?
I feel like I am doing it to a degree, but it is a much slower pace than I would like. Maybe the steps are smaller, or maybe there's a lot more time in between each step than I would like.
Any way to increase that step to a larger size?
Probably taking the time to create the organization, as far as even just 5 minutes in the morning to write down all the points of action I would like to accomplish. I just sort of have it mentally, or like a loose to-do list, but not anything that has any strictness around it.
And you have the time in between packing lunches and everything to do this?
I would hopefully do it beforehand. So, I should create that time. I mean, if it's only 5 minutes to just put that outline of maybe what I would like to accomplish during each day, that would move me closer. But it's been a little more difficult because right now all my energy has been going into the book, because I just really want to get the book done. So that's been my priority. So anything else that's not my, family and household needs, or seeing clients and tending to the office stuff, as far as like my own personal growth and development, everything's been going into the book right now. So that does delay things a bit, for sure.
So what would be the benefit of you doing that?
I would allow time for the other things aside from just getting right to the book. I could do all of the little things that I need to do to just with marketing and telling the world about my approach and how, what I do. Because I just think the book is going to do that for me. But in the meantime, I'm not, I'm letting everything else fall by the wayside.
And so what are your hopes for the book?
I feel I am a much better writer than I am speaker. And so I am better able to convey my thoughts more fully and eloquently in writing. And so as far as my career goes and my approach to functional fertility, this book will speak for me, and then I can promote the book. And that can really help people to turn the corner with unexplained infertility, because there's a lot of things in the book that most fertility practitioners don't address or are not even aware of. So that will help. I'm hoping it will help a lot more people who just feel like they're at a loss and they've tried everything and there's nowhere else to go. I hope this gives them some new rocks to look under.
And where does this book launch when it drops? Where does that lie on the continuum of your growth mindset and your abundant mindset?
It's a really good question. Like, where does it lie in the trajectory of this whole growth and abundance mindset?
Yep.
I'm hoping and anticipating that it is going to be the piece that accelerates that growth, because I'm finally able to reach more people and it's already written, and then I can talk more about it in speaking engagements or podcasts, and reach more people on a wider level.
So Jaclyn, we talked a lot about sort of this aspect of sort of having this abundant mindset and, going through all the sort of feelings and sensations in the body. Like, tell me what's happening.
It's reinforcing what I inherently know, just to keep moving forward and to make time for the organization. Yes.
Ah, excellent. Well, is this a good place for us to transition?
Sure. Yes.
Wonderful. All right. So tell my audience more about Jaclyn Downs, what you do, who you are, who you serve.
I am a functional genomic consultant, which
wow, so official.
yes, that's just like the most concise way to phrase it, even though I need to go and explain it afterwards. So functional nutrition and functional medicine are definitely becoming more popular terms, and yep. I think will soon definitely become a buzz term if it's not already in certain circles. So that approach is getting to the root cause rather than taking a pill for an ill, or even like a supplement, a natural alternative to a pill for an ill. It's getting to the root cause of why is the ill there in the first place, with functional lab markers, but also exploring the whole person. Do they have childhood experiences that may have created their limbic system or their fight or flight to be in a state of alarm, and then heightened reactivity to certain foods or situations or even temperatures. So there's a lot to explore with root cause, and then the genomics can help us to see where these weaknesses or these predispositions are. So I don't require genetic testing for every client that I have, but it definitely can help us to see patterns for inflammation or nutrient status or detoxification ability. and my specialty is with fertility. And period problems. I say wonky periods because wonky periods can be a sign of problems with fertility in the future down the road. So really just helping the whole person to create a ideal terrain for reproduction. So that is what I do professionally, and I love it. I enjoy learning, and I love seeing clients. I do hope that the book allows me to reach more people. And then I actually am in the process of taking out all of the really biochemical jargon, and I'm going to create a separate either appendix or handbook or guide for practitioners so I can train them on how they can better serve their clients and patients, and then just keep the book for the average lay person that just wants some actionable steps and things to ask their doctor for that relate to fertility. So I'm not sure if that's going to be one book or two books coming out of it, but it's very it's a lot of information from what my beta readers have said. So I'm working on kind of separating those out. Outside of my work, I love roller skating.
Yeah. Wow.
Absolutely love it. I have been doing it for many, many years. I did roller derby about 15 years ago. I helped to start the league here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. My current love is doing the ramps at the skate park. And I'm also finally learning the banjo that I've had for about 15 or 20 years. So I'm trying to make sure that I balance that whole self-care thing, nourish my soul and make time for myself. So I try and, even if it's just skating my girls to school, it's something, put my skates on at least a few times a week.
So what's been your biggest success story when it comes to helping women, conceive?
The biggest success story, I just feel like every single one is its own huge success, because every client comes to me at a different point in their journey and with their struggles and heartbreaks. And so even if it hasn't resulted in a successful pregnancy yet, they are learning what their body requires, what their body does not want. And so they're getting their body healthier, and they're like, basically they're getting more empowered to take control of their own health and to know what their body needs, which usually results in the boost in fertility and reproductive capacity. So also in teaching my clients these things, I feel like it leaves an environmental footprint, because I tell them about how pesticides are linked to not only like cancers and all kinds of other problems, but neuroendocrine disorders. And so by them buying organic, that is helping the earth and all of its animals and the water and the air and all of that stuff. So it's very rewarding on that aspect, knowing I feel like I'm serving the earth as well as these clients.
So in your experience, what would be some do's and some don'ts that you would advise a client who's at this point struggling with fertility issues?
I would advise them to get some answers on the root cause. Okay, so most fertility doctors will just sort of measure the hormones and then give the appropriate levels of hormones, whereas let's find out why the hormones are out of range. So seeing a practitioner that is holistic or integrative or ideally functional will allow them to understand the root causes of why the hormones are out of balance. And then one simple thing is to just upgrade where you can. Upgrade your body care products, upgrade your food quality. I'm not telling them to start, following a certain diet or eating cardboard and gravel, but just, this is better than that approach. Finish what you have. You don't have to throw everything out in your cupboards, but next time you buy a new cleaner, maybe try one that is more natural. And a lot of those natural products don't work, but don't give up. You will find something that works. Or you can always contact me, and I'm happy to provide some resources. So definitely getting the toxins out is a huge step. And then finding out why the hormones are out of balance is a huge step as well.
So I wanted to sort of, you mentioned being a cancer survivor, so I wanted to thank you for taking part in my interview series, I Survived Cancer, Here's How I Did It, with both Authority Magazine and Thrive Global. What has been your experience from it?
People that I haven't spoken to in a while will send me a message, say, hey, your article was really inspiring, and I passed it on to so-and-so or a family member. And that just makes me feel great, because this is just my story. I wasn't trying to preach or teach or tell people what they should do. It's just, this is what worked for me, and this might be something you want to explore. So that, I thank you so much for that opportunity. I really enjoyed doing the interview, and I'm really feeling good about the amount of feedback that I've been getting.
Has that experience changed the way you go about your life and your work right now?
All the feedback?
Just generally writing it, having a cathartic experience. Some people describe it as being cathartic. Mm-hmm. Has that changed anything?
I feel like it filled it provided inspiration for me to just keep doing what I'm doing, and to share what I do with people. Whether if it resonates with them, then it will move them forward, and if it doesn't, then hopefully they find something else that helps to move them forward.
In your experience, did cancer teach you something?
I feel that it softened my hard edges a bit, and especially around if other people that I know get cancer, I will know what they are going through, and I will be more patient and empathetic because I have experienced it. Had I not experienced it, I might not have created the time for that person to really meet them where they are. It might just be like, oh, let me know if you need anything kind of thing, but really I can actually get on the page, because since I've written that, actually a couple people in my life have experienced some health challenges, one being cancer. And so I'm definitely more, it holds the experience closer to my heart and just makes life that much sweeter, and allows me to really cultivate the close relationships much more carefully than I would have just kind of taking it for granted that these people are always going to be here in my life. Because cancer for me was, my life seemed finite, and I saw that there was an end to my timeline, but it still felt like, oh, well, this person's just always going to be there. And now when other people are getting cancer, it really brings it home that none of us nothing's ever going to stay the same. And so to just, it makes your time with them that much sweeter, and to just put more into those relationships.
I love that you spoke about that, because for me, cancer was a wake-up call for vulnerability. I was always the person who, I got it, I'm fine, and it taught me to rely on people. So I love the fact that you mentioned sort of this chasm of sort of going through that and now understanding it, and also then sort of offering that support. So that's really great. So tell my audience where they can find you on the internet.
My website is jaclyndowns.com, JACLYNDOWNS.com. And I do have an Instagram profile that I've recently started posting. I think I have like 5 or 6 posts now. I've had the account forever. I was just resistant to using it. And that is Jaclyn Downs 717. And I'm mostly going to be posting about fertility stuff and some quotes from my book. And then I have a Facebook page, Functional Genomic Fertility, that is also not getting a whole lot of love at the moment.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jaclyn. I really appreciate your candor and the fact that, you sort of speak in very, very succinct terms, and I really love that. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your interest in interviewing me and wanting to hear my story. I really appreciate it. I'm honored.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
Hi there. I really hope you enjoyed listening to today's podcast episode of The Human Resolve. If you feel that others may enjoy this episode as well, please share socially at The Human Resolve. They can also visit my website, thehumanresolve.com, where I offer one-on-one coaching sessions, daily prompts to move you in the right direction, synced directly to your smartphone, and a subscription to my weekly newsletter where I probe into the secrets from living smarter to feeding your 3 brains. If you could also help me out and give me a review and rating on this platform, because I do care what you have to say, I would really appreciate it. Now, get out there, my friends, and get busy living.